Yo, y'all listening to Savage Media Radio, your number one source for underrated and non-viral topics, discussions, and news from the web and around the world. Think you can handle that much truth? Buckle up, bruh. It's about to get savage.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, you know what the sound that means. We're back. Woo! Week 11, that's right?
Yes,
week 11.
Week 11.
Yes, cool, awesome. You know, I just want to make sure I don't forget. I've been doing We're back for 11 weeks, so
right.
I just want to make sure. We have the whole team today. Woo. That's exciting. We have everyone. Some very interesting things to talk about today. We don't know what we're talking. We don't know what each other's talking about, so that we're excited to see what's gonna bring today. I'm super excited to see what's gonna happen. I just have a quick little update for you guys and everyone else listening. I had an opportunity on Friday of last week to present to Harlem and at this venue called Harlem Lights. It was my first ever interactive open live jam session with my band G Groove. Troy Weeks Music presents and G Groove presents interactive open jam session. It was freaking amazing, so dope that they booked us for the next 2 weeks at Harlem Lights. Like a dream come true. Like when I say dream come true, 100%. Dream come true. So you guys are in the New York, New Jersey area. You guys should definitely check it out. It's definitely a major accomplishment in my life right now. Super excited. So we'll for that. But we only got like 2 minutes. I'm gonna kick things over to someone else. I'm gonna go to John. John's not feeling well, guys. So bear with us. We love our John. We're gonna we love you, John. So we just.
I appreciate that, Troy. I got to get some love. Appreciate that.
Of course.
I got nothing new going on. I was telling these guys I got that death flu that's going around. And been, pretty much hopped up, hanging out on the couch, and not doing much. So I'm not dead, though. I'm not dead, nor am I dying. Doug was lucky enough to share some crazy stats on this flu that's going around, so I'm not dead.
Right. Let's take him. You're not dead. You're here. We got you. Good.
Yeah.
Go to Doug, since you mentioned Doug. Doug, can you just reiterate that whole comment really fast about the flu and how many people what's going on with that?
Well, in a condensed version, basically 4,000 people a week right now are dying from the flu. So the flu's incredibly serious. Be careful, everybody. Be careful out there. Sadly, a lot of times what happens is it's either people who don't have insurance or they have insurance, but they can't afford the drugs because they're so freaking expensive, which is a whole nother giant subject. But be careful out there if you have the flu. Take that stuff seriously. We want you listening. We want you safe for a long journey.
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you so much.
Nice little public service announcement there from Doug.
That's right. PSA from Savage Media Radio and Doug Carry On. We're going to move things over to Carlos. Carlos, you got anything for us?
No, not really. Just working. I'm doing a lot more comedy, getting back into my normal groove. So not much up for me. Courtney?
Wow. That was great. Same over here. Not much at all. I'm just working like a dog. I got a show coming up, and Troy knows I'm like losing my fucking mind. But other than that, everything's normal.
Yeah, just for the record, I think that may be the shortest introduction from Carlos we've ever had.
Exactly.
I know everyone was like, "What crazy thing happened to him this week?" Nothing crazy happened, guys. I've been saying.
Besides YouTube.
Did we get to Brandon?
Live. I saw that. No, we about to right now. Let's keep to Brandon because we got to keep it moving. Brandon, it's an exciting new one. Welcome back, first of all.
Hey, thank you, guys. Sorry about the whole delays. I have nothing new. It's just hella cold in Seattle. It's like 35 degrees right now. So
that's hella cold.
The flu is really going around. It's snowing like hell. So everybody bundle up. Get all your drugs. Literally.
Oh, stay safe. Right. Stay warm and stay safe. Dang,
it's pretty cold in LA as well. It was
what?
It was 39 degrees when I woke up this morning. It was pretty rough.
Lies. It was probably 82.
Right.
Wow. You just trying to fit in, Doug. Don't do that. Get out of here. I mean, God. Anyway, we gotta keep things moving, guys. That was a little intro recap for letting you guys know update of the week. Sometimes we got things and sometimes we don't. It's okay. That's life. At the end of the day, it is what it is. We're still here and we're still rocking. To catch our latest broadcast here on Spreaker as well as SoundCloud, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. If you like our views and want to keep us talking, donations to the show are always appreciated via Patreon.com. Follow us on Facebook Instagram, and Google Plus for up-to-date information and discussions about previous and upcoming broadcasts. Plus, you can keep up to date with your favorite hosts right there and on all our social media platforms. We're going to kick things over now to our Savage Culture segment. Let's get it. That's right. Savage, baby! And we here. We got something very important to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, and not enough time. When I tell you not enough time, you're going to realize what I'm saying. So today's topic is sexuality. Keeping it old school, or is it time to wake up? And this is why I say that. Sexuality is something that, is not taboo anymore. It's okay to be who you are, which is, amazing and great. But some people still think in the old school. And the reason why I say that, this is why I say that. Because there's a lot of single people out here, a lot of single women, a lot of single men. Whether they're straight, gay, bisexual, trisexual, whatever it may be. Single, on both spectrums. But the reason why I brought that topic up is because of this. There's a lot of men out there who may not be a gay man, but have been a man who have been another man. Whether it was, maybe once or twice, maybe something part of your life, whatever. Maybe you're bisexual, trisexual, pansexual, whatever it may be. There's a stigma where women will not date a man or will consider a man seriously dating a man or being in a relationship with a man who has gone another man, and that's a problem. And that's why I brought this topic up. Because we're living in a day and age where everybody wants to be in love, everybody's all single and want to be in love, and you got men on one hand that want to love you, and you got women that need to love as well as kids that want to give love. So what's the problem? What is the problem? So what? Because a man has built another man, it doesn't make him any less of a man. He's still a man that's capable of being a great father, being a great man in a relationship, and being someone who could be the man you meet in your life. But because you're so close-minded, you don't see it. So this is what I'm opening up to you guys. I know we have a couple of different sexualities on a part of our podcast, which is amazing. So this is why it's important for me to bring this to you guys because, this is leading to some bigger things in the long run. But for right now, I want to know you guys' opinion on that topic because it's very, it's something that's been on my heart for a while and something that I've been trying to really, been saying, what, it's time to really talk about it. It's time to really talk about it. So I'm going to kick things over to John first. I love kicking things over to John. And then, just to, give me your insight on this. Sexuality, keeping it old school, or is it time to wake up?
All right, Troy, I got to ask. So before I answer, why'd you pick this topic? What was the motivation? What sparked this?
Because I hate looking at social media nowadays and looking at all the things that are going on with all, the way selfies used to be selfies and now they turn into naked pictures. Like, first of all, you're seeking validation from social media because you're lonely. And I get it. But why are you lonely? Because you're not in a relationship. But why are you not in a relationship? Because you're not open-minded, to the fact that love could be anywhere around you. And, the reason why I picked the topic is it relates to me in a sense, but it's some things I can't really talk about right now because there's some other things leading to that. But trust me, if you tune in on Saturday, you'll see what I'm talking about to free yourself. There's some things going on that, so the topic relates to me in a sense, but I can't really go into too much detail right now about why. You will see Saturday if you tune in or next week.
Okay. But nice little selfish plug for the podcast on Saturday. I like that. I think it's, and I think it's an interesting topic because I think it's an interesting time, kind of, in this century or whatever you want to call it. I think people just got to chill out and they have to be more open-minded. I think social media, exposes a lot of people and it gives people an avenue to criticize and hate. And that's just the wrong way to go about things. And it cannot be that way anymore. People need to be open-minded and more open-minded to suggestions from others, ideas, and like just hating on people for no reason has to stop. Like, I don't know why this is. Like, I don't know why it continues. Like, the problem that just continues to be perpetuated. Like, it's not getting better. It's getting worse, and it has to stop. And in terms of sexuality, who cares? Like, honestly, who cares? Like, that's my opinion. You got to stop caring about that stuff. It has no bearing on who a person is and who that person's going to be at some point. That's the biggest thing for me. That has no bearing on where that person's going in their life.
I agree. Thank you so much, John. I really appreciate that because people tend to be a big stigma about sexuality in the years past, was instead of calling someone by their name, you work in a place where, oh yeah, the one that we work with, the gay guy. Like, so what if he's gay? Who cares? Like, why do you care about that? His name is John, by the way, just so you know. Like, he has a name and he's a person. So stop calling him the gay guy. Like, some things like that. So basically what you said was hitting right on the nose and some of those things that experienced and spoke about before. So that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it doesn't have any bearing on who that person is. It's like one of the worst questions. Like a question that I hate more than anything is like, say if you're at a party or something. By the way, I'm a house party enthusiast, for the record. Yeah, house party's got to live on, But say you're at a party or something like that, and it's like, oh, what do you meet somebody for the first time? It's like, oh, what do you do? My first answer is always, what sounds fun? Like, what I do professionally doesn't tell you anything about who I am. Like, stop it with those garbage questions, Right. Sorry, that was a side note. It got me fired up for a minute.
Right, because they're trolling you. They're trying to see what's up. They're saying, okay, this is what he does. Okay, cool, copy, no problem. That's what. So nowadays they want to make sure you got a job, you're doing something. You know what I'm saying? Like they always, but it's just not out of parties a place for that. It's not the time or place for that. Like, hey, how you doing? What do you do for fun? That kind of thing is more like. But nowadays, like you said, things are transition. At my daughter's first birthday party, one of my little sister's friends asked this guy who she thought was cute, hey, are you gay? Because you got to ask nowadays. That's what she said, and she's like 14 or 15. Like, wow, so bold and so like, hey, I think you're cute, but are you gay? Like, wow. My aunt, who's old school, was like, is that what we do nowadays? And she was completely shocked.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Shocked. This little girl asked this boy that. But we got to keep this moving because I know we got no time. I'm going to kick this over to Carlos because I want to know what Carlos has to say about this. Jar, thank you so much. Carlos, what do you have to say on sexuality? Keeping it old school, it's time to wake up.
So as far as what your personal sexuality is, I don't care. I actually just did. It's so funny you said that. I just did a post and I was like, I don't care if you fuck trees, if you're fucking pigs, as long as you respect me and don't try to fuck me. Like I don't. Hey, bestiality is illegal, but I don't think that it should be because people should do what they want to do. Shit. But
second that. I second that.
The animals can't give consent though, so I understand why it's illegal. So don't come jumping down my throat. I know. But as far as I'm concerned, what you do in your own home and what you do in your own privacy and your sex life that's your business. But your second part is where I don't agree with. When I was dating, when I meant to find someone to get married to, they could never have had sex with a woman ever in their life. I think we talked about this on Real Shit Friday, Courtney.
Yeah, we did.
Me and my husband have never kissed a girl. I've never licked a clit. I've never gone down that cavity.
You're missing out.
I'm sorry. Yeah, gosh.
So because I just know that's not everyone's like, how you don't like it if you don't try it. Yes, the fuck I do know I don't like it. I know I don't like fire. I don't have to burn myself to know I don't like fire. Like I know I don't like that. So that was one of my expectations for my partner. So I think it is fair to have that expectation of your partner, and this is the reason why. For me, I feel like bisexuality would be very hard to do because I can never 100% please you. Because, you might see a woman, you might be like, oh, man, she's really sexy and I want to have some titties today. I don't have titties. So if you want to like motorboat titties or like fuck some titties with your dick, I can't do that for you and vice versa. So it would make me feel insecure if I dated someone bisexual because I know that I can 100% sexually please them.
But what makes you say that? And let me tell you why. Because at the end of the day, I get what you're saying. I knew sort of you was going to feel that way, and I have friends who feel the same way you feel. So I totally understand where you're coming from. But my only issue with this and what you're saying in regards to the bisexual man. Who's to say that bisexual man can't be loved and pleased by you just because he likes to be with a woman? And
I didn't say that. I said I wouldn't date you. Now, there's probably people in this world that would date you, but me, that's one of my expectations. Just like some people want their man to have good credit in a car. That I don't care about your car. But
hey, man.
Vagina.
Yeah, I guess it. No, I understand. What I'm saying is, you saying that because he's bisexual, you wouldn't be able to please him 100% because if he wants to be with a woman and she has titties and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, why I'm different from you is that if someone's committed to you and I'm with you, and that's something you need to know in the beginning. So if I'm with you and I'm committed to you, then I want to be with you. So I don't have to be with a woman or anybody else for that matter because I want to be with you. So I feel like,
but at this point, I agree with you, Troy. But we're talking about just human sex drive. Like you niggas are gonna be niggas. Like regardless. Like I'm sorry.
Jesus. So you're saying there's no hope, Carlos? Are you saying there's no hope for a bisexual man to be in an actual heterosexual relationship with a woman? Be able to be.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. I said, for me, that's exactly what you're saying. For me, that's exactly what I'm saying. But for y'all out there, do what you do. Do what you do, boo-boo.
Okay, got you. You just saying for me personally, no. But if that, you're not saying that that's something that could be, like, the world needs to open up their mind to, the possibility, if that's what, to the possibility of love and what it could be. That's all I'm saying. What do you?
I think the world just needs to mind their own fucking business and stay in their own bedroom. So
mind your business, America. Stay home world. Mind your business. You heard it here first on South Media Radio. I'm gonna kick these over to John before we get to Brendan. John, what is your take on this? Sexuality, keeping it old school, bringing up, mixing sexual. A man that is doing another man, being able to finally have hope in the future. To, if he wants to be with a woman and have a kid, whatever the case may be, if he just want to have a serious relationship, maybe he'll want no kid, maybe he just wants to be with a woman. Whoever knows. If he wants to connect with her, let him connect with her. What do you have to say to all that, guys?
Well, I think that things are definitely changing, and living in Southern California and Los Angeles, it's really, really very open here in Los Angeles. People being gay, and it's not a problem at all. Being a dad that takes kids to school and stuff like that, I see all different kinds of families in all different kinds of shapes and sizes, and that's the world where I am right now. And I understand it, and it doesn't even rattle me. And most of the people that I know, it is what it is. What's fascinating is that even like I have a young one. My young daughter the other day had said at school they were getting ready to play have a pretend wedding, and at the pretend wedding it was going to be 2 girls. And I said,
oh, wow.
What is it? What? And she said, yeah, Melissa and Erica are getting married for the da-da-da-da. And that made me really happy, because that really just shows how far we've come with people's understanding. On the other side of it, it's like, you're going to like whoever you like. And, the dynamics of relationship can be very complicated, and that's I guess for the 2 people to decide, whether is there a point where it's like, oh my gosh, because you were with another woman or you were with another man, I can't be with you. That's definitely it's just an area for me where it's like, it's almost like a no-fly zone, since I wouldn't be able to understand that, because I'm in I'm married and I have a wife and I'm happily married and all that, but I don't see how that would be a problem. And in my life, I've run into people where I've seen the dynamic where the dad is openly gay and yet has a wife and 3 kids. And that was their dynamic. And I was like, son of a gun, that's amazing. And right now I'm in a dynamic where in my neighborhood, one of the parents are getting divorced, which is a bummer because they have 2 kids. But I would have thought from 100 yards out that the dad was a gay guy, but he wasn't a gay guy. So it's really, it's just really, it's amazing to me. But I think that all in all, in Los Angeles, where I live up toward the Burbank, Studio City area, it's widely accepted, and I think that's a great thing. And it's a lot more open, and I think the more love that you have, the better.
Got it. Awesome. Thank you so much, Doug. And last but not least, that was awesome, man. I love y'all. We're gonna kick this over to Brandon real fast before we end this segment. Brandon, what do you think about all this? Do you want me to repeat the question you got?
Well, for it to be 2018, I think everybody should be very fucking open-minded at this point, because I have a friend that just got a job at a barbershop, and he's openly gay, but he called me concerned, asking about, what should I do, or how should I act, or, how should I interact with other people? I was just like, be yourself. They'll understand. A gay guy in a barbershop full of guys, normally blacks, but it's kind of hard. So I was told to be himself, and everybody actually opened him with open arms. And that's the thing about it, 2018. Everybody needs to be fucking open-minded, and the world will be so much goddamn better.
Awesome. That's what I'm talking about. Wow, we right on time, too. Ow. Come on, team. That's what I'm talking about. That was great conversation. We're going to have to come back to this another time, but I'll tell you why. You just got to tune in on Saturday to find out. But anyway, that was Savage Culture, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We kick things off just like that each and every week. So now we're going to kick things over to Kicking It with Carlos. Let's get it.
Alrighty, guys. Welcome to Kicking It with Carlos one more time. So today, actually, thank you, Troy. I'm so happy, actually, that we're not telling each other's topics because my topic rose right at, it's perfect. It rose right into yours. We are talking about slut shaming. I did a post on this on Instagram. You guys, y'all don't even follow me on Instagram, so y'all wouldn't have seen it. But
I do.
I follow you. I got you.
Follow me.
We started a Black China slut shaming. You was giving it to him. We started. I thought you.
Yes, I was probably one of the only people on social media defending Black China.
I did see that. Yeah,
if you guys saw her sex tape came out, like she's already had several sex tapes, so it's not like ooh,
it's not brand new.
But it was released to the public over the weekend, and everyone was like, "Oh, her dick game is so soft. Oh, if she sucked my dick like that, then I would never." And then so I had a lot of thoughts. My first thought is, she could suck your dick any type of way if she wants because her daughter's last name is Kardashian, so she never
right.
So she doesn't even have to suck your dick. She can pay another nigga to suck your dick and watch and enjoy it. So like just the like she's literally owed money now. And she did that with her vagina. So go ahead, claps to you, Black China. But secondly, I was just like, why are there straight men sitting here watching another dude get his dick sucked and then giving their opinions on how the dick is being sucked? Because and then be like, oh, her head top is so low.
Hello?
I was like, how far can you put a dick down your throat, sir?
About 10 inches, right.
How good can you suck a dick, sir? Because it takes, like, I'm sorry. You can't be an expert on something if you've never done it. Am I wrong?
You're right.
I'm going to kick it off to Coco. What do you think? Slut shaming, is it a thing? Like, we all know it's a thing. Like Amber Rose with Black China, and it goes both ways because, you know, and this goes deeper. Like, when a woman's a hoe, when she, like, not really, I don't even want to say hoe. Like, when a woman is just sexually expressive and she gets her dick when she wants the dick, then she's considered a hoe. But when a man does it, he's a player. Like, the bias is so disgusting, and I'm tired of it. What do you think, Coco?
Well, first of all, we all know that Amber Rose is my bestie, so that's no question right there. But I actually admire women who could be loosey-goosey. Like, if I could, like, sling it around, and, like, if I wasn't married, I don't know if I'd be slinging it around, but, like, I would definitely be, like, you know, having fun.
In the air.
Like, throwing it in there. Exactly. And I told my husband that I was like, I am so happy to be married because it is a struggle. You know, being single, you don't know what you're gonna get. I get it, but if I had no choice, I would be having a blast. So I admire women who can do that and who have no shame, because you shouldn't have any shame. It's your body. Your body is your temple, and your temple could be open 24 hours. I don't give a fuck. It's your body, so I really don't care. But I mean, slut shaming is such a thing because of the fact that people are so quick to judge people's actions, and in essence, I'm a woman that can admit that I admire people and that I envy, you know, being able to be free like that. But a lot of women, they are just jealous because they can't. So that's kind of like how I feel. They're stuck in a marriage that they can't stand, or you know, they're insecure and they want to shame people who are not that way. I'm in a happy marriage, but I tell you, if I was single, I would have a blast. So I'm not shaming anybody who's slinging it. Go and do your thing. It's your body. That's how I say.
And here's the thing: a lot of people, I agree with you, Coco. Just sling that V any way you see fit, you know. But slut shaming to me goes deeper, because it could be economical. When you have women like Kim Kardashian, per se, who everyone's like, she's only rich and famous because she was a hoe. No, not true. She went and got a down payment on a sex tape that she sold, and then she created an empire. Don't demean her hustle. And when a man does it, like Jay-Z, or when someone else does it, then it's like, oh, he's an entrepreneur. He's an OG. Like, even in the business world, slut shaming is a thing. Like, when a woman is successful, oh, she sucked her way to the top. But when a man's successful, he worked hard. Why is it, Doug? What do you think the reason is?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, there's a double standard. I think there's always been a double standard. I don't know how long the double standard's going to go, but I will say it's fascinating because I was listening to a podcast this afternoon with Heather Graham, And what was interesting is that Heather Graham, that, you know, she's in Drugstore Cowboy, blah, 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 blah. But what she really started, she was so upfront about masturbating. And it was the first, and I kind of took a step back. I was like, wow, is she really saying that? And in this podcast, her ideology was, yeah, you're in a relationship, you're not in a relationship, but you should be able to be okay intellectually with touching yourself. And I was like, wow, yeah. That was really, I thought that was like, wow, that's amazing that's where we are in society right now. As we should be. The only thing is,
who are you telling me that I have to be ashamed that I twinkle my finger at my booty hole every couple of days now and again? You should. I did it to myself. I didn't do it to nobody else.
Hey, whatever works for you. Whatever works. As long as you're not being mean to yourself and abusing yourself, you're okay. But the only thing on the, you know what I'm talking about, but the only thing on the other side with, like, I wouldn't, you know, the slut shaming thing, you know, I think that's kind of lame to be calling people out on that. But what's interesting is I always get a little bit worried about people posting things on the net and how long that stuff lives out there in the cloud. So it's forever. Like, if you're, you know, and that's what's really like, please, 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 you know, that stuff lives forever, which I think is, I don't know, maybe for some people when they're a grandma, they're going to look back and like, hey, man, this was me when I was with Todd in the back of my car. Do you want to see what it looks like? Right. And so
I was getting it, right?
You know, I was getting it. Go ahead.
If you guys followed me, if you follow me this week on social media, I'm trying to do more of like the, you know, like the current events, and this week it all played into Blac Chyna. Then we had after Blac Chyna, we had what'd you say, Troy?
You have skincare. I saw the skincare video.
Oh, the skincare. Yeah, that was last week. But Blac Chyna, and then we roll into Fergie. Did y'all see what she was singing?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
I can't. If you guys haven't heard her sing the national anthems at NBA, whatever it's called, I don't know what it's called. The national game? I'm not sure what it's called.
All-Star game.
All-Star game. She sang the national anthem at the All-Star game. She did a very 19s I don't know rendition. And it was Fergalicious. It was definitely her. But people started like coming after her sexually. And then I saw Black Twitter like literally revoke the black card, because like Fergie has had this black card since she's been one of the only person who's not black in the Black Eyed Peas. But she's been giving a black card since the early 2000s, and everyone's like, oh, this white girl is over here just being white, you know? So what do you guys think about this, Troy? What do you think about the national anthem?
Massacre. What the fuck was that? Fergie, girl, as an entertainer from one to another, I don't know what you did before. That was your moment to let them know, I got this. When you get asked to do the national anthem, I'm waiting. So if you're out there and you're looking for someone to do it, Troy's Music is here. Plug, just had to let you know. You got to be ready to go. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was like one of those videos someone made up, like, oh, this is funny. Like, someone just did this to be funny. Like, I thought it was real. I thought someone did it to be funny. I did not think it was right.
That's how she sounded, though. That's literally how she sounded. I literally made a joke yesterday on my skit. I was like, she sounded so bad that Colin Kaepernick got off his knee and said, you're not going to disrespect our national anthem like that. Like, it was that bad. Oh my God. It was that bad. It was really that bad. John, how did you feel about how she did?
I was watching that live, and it was utterly atrocious. I was laughing like the entire time. It was so bad. Did you guys see Draymond Green's face when they panned over and showed his face?
No one could keep a straight face. No one could keep a straight face.
Draymond Green, like, his mouth was wide open. He was just in awe, like, oh my God, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. So it was awful. It was awful. And I don't know why she gets the black card. Like, she grew up in Hacienda Heights here in LA, which is like 90% Hispanic. And like 8% Asian. So I don't
Dutch,
know.
I think, or something. I
don't know how she got that. I didn't give it to her, just for the record, so don't blame me. But it was awful. It was atrocious.
I'm I'm sorry, John. I don't know if we have white people giving out black cards, but thanks.
Well, I just wanted to clarify that.
Actually, Coco,
I just wanted to say
exactly
that,
how it works. That's exactly how.
That's how we get people like Fergie. I get it.
Black. And then the last thing that I made a joke of, which kind of ties into slut shaming, is I did a video. I don't know if you guys have been on social media where you had this little girl and she's literally doing a stripper pole dance in a playground and she like drops into a split. And then I paired it with another little girl that's been going viral, and she's rapping to Cardi B. And everyone's been coming after this little girl. They're like, what mother will let her sing these? Because, I mean, she's rapping that new song that she has with her boyfriend. I don't know the name of it, but it's a good song.
Offset,
yeah. I'm gonna Offset. But she's talking about sucking Offset's dick and shit, and this little girl is just singing it like, but she was rapping it good. People came after her. And I was like, Cardi B came from nothing and like became a stripper and now she's a millionaire and she's going to be famous. She is famous. She's going to be an idol. Like, right. Should we discourage our children from listening to this, or should we encourage them to listen and to be themselves and to be like anti-slut shame and be like, all right, you might be 9 years old, but you can sing that song, and if you want to twerk, or is that the direction our country's going in, or should we put a stop to it?
Like, isn't it not an edited version? I don't understand. Like, there's a version for the radio with no curse words. So if she's rapping the version on the radio.
But curse words or not, that you can still. I mean, there are songs from back in the day that I listen to now, and I was like, how the fuck were we listening to that? Even the edited version, because they're talking about just straight sex. Like, they're talking about it just straight. Like, I can't think of the one right off the head, but I think Genuine and R. Kelly, they got a whole lot of
all that, right? Yeah.
I don't see nothing wrong with Little Bump and Grind. That played on the radio.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sitting there 6 years. I don't see nothing wrong.
Listen, that audio was like, baby, I don't see nothing wrong. I'm like, you better say it, nigga.
Yes. Yeah, so like, what should we do, guys? What should we do? Who has an opinion? Brandon, someone take over.
Listen, I was kind of raised around hood music, so I was kind of raised around that gun violence, snitch, bitch, all that. I couldn't. I don't know.
It's like when you're raised around Trina and like,
yes.
like when you talking about my neck and Kaya, my neck, my back, my pussy, and my crack,
right.
That's just like that's normal for us. But now, like as an adult, I feel like kids singing it. I'm just like, oh no. Like the one that really bothered me was SZA's song, The Weeknd, and they're like, "And my man is your man is our man." I was like, no.
Little girls are thinking that shit is right.
Y'all all finna get syphilis. Y'all all finna catch syphilis.
Yeah,
that's not stress. That's syphilis.
I don't agree. Like you brought a different light to it for me right now. Yeah, it brings me back to those ignorant ass kids in the subway and seeing them talking and doing the things they do, talking about sucking dick and all of that. First of all, you in middle school, you should not be sucking no dick, first of all, because you definitely don't know what you're doing. And these kids out here don't wash their ass. You can tell they don't wash their ass because they be looking at stains all over their clothes, mad dirty. I just feel like, no, I agree with you in the songs. Like, it should be parental, there should be some kind of parental control on that. I don't agree with that. I'm not letting my little daughter rap no Cardi B, especially if she's talking about that. I'm sorry. I just don't agree with it, because what you put into them is what they're going to be. And if I think it's cute and it's okay, and I let her go around here saying those things, bleeping out the curse words, even though you can now know what the curse word is. It's not that hard to rhyme to find out what the curse word is. So I'm sure she heard whenever I say it once before. So at the end of the day, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the music being what it is, and that's why I think music is supposed to make change in the world, and music isn't making change, and that's why I feel like my music and style and genre was created. Like, no, like, we're supposed to be empowered. We're supposed to be listening to a song when we're going through and get some empowerment from it. We're supposed to be looking for a job, going through, lost our job, maybe turn a song on and go, come on, music is not like that nowadays. It's too depressing. It's a turn up, but it's depressing, because when you turn it off, you're suicidal, you're still going through after you turn it off. I'm sorry, no. So I agree with you, Colin.
But before I leave, I have one quick thing, and I have like 4 to 6 minutes, so I don't want to take this to a huge debate, but I do want to touch on I don't want to touch on the gun aspect of school shooting. I want to look deeper. We're going to look past the gun. I had a debate with friends and with fans online about why this is happening now in this generation, and then why is this happening to a certain type of school? And I'm trying to be delicate with this because it's something that has affected a lot of people, but y'all know me, I'm also going to be blunt. The only school shootings that I've ever seen in recent current culture is in very white suburbia, and every shooter is white. At our schools where I grew up in the hood in Detroit, we had metal detectors.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We literally put our backpacks through metal detectors, and then we had armed security at every time. And then it was very strict. It was like almost prison. When the bell rang, you had 10 seconds to get your ass in class, or you were getting an automatic in-school suspension. And
yes.
no but. So no questions asked, because it was dangerous, because you could be doing drugs, there could be gang violence in the hallways when classes are going on. So they were it was like prison. When I went to school, it was like prison. So that's why I didn't want to look at the gun part. That's not my discussion. Why can't we just implement every school and make it act like it's in the hood?
Hey, well,
Doug, do you have opinions on that? Who has kids? Doug, you have kids, right?
I have kids.
Would you be against your kids going to school and having an armed security guard there and then having them to go just like the airport, the same process that they have to go through the airport to go into school?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I would prefer that, but I would go one step deeper, and I'm definitely a fan. I believe in people's Second Amendment right. That's not a problem at all. But I am also really afraid for my kids and my neighbors' kids and everybody's kids in respect to the access to firearms and assault rifles and such.
But that's not we as America, they're going to be guns. So what we need to do, my problem is, we protect our gold, correct, with armed security guards. We protect our money in our banks with armed security guard. Why are we protecting the future of America, the future doctors, the future president? Those children are our future. So they should be the most protected thing in this country, in my opinion. What do you say, Doug?
Well, I know, for the two school, where I have a junior high school kid, and so there's always a police car there at the school, and there's a presence there. And at the high school, there's also a presence there. So I guess you could say, no, they're not going through metal detectors, but there's definitely police cars out in front. And I don't think it's because anything's wrong as much as it's just setting the message hey, man, this isn't a place to be, talking too much, to be getting too crazy. So it's there. And, do I think that metal detectors should be available? Yes, I would rather have metal detectors available than arming teachers.
I do not support arming a fucking
what?
teacher.
Well, yesterday I was listening to Newt Gingrich talk about his solution was to arm teachers. And then today Donald Trump was talking about arming teachers.
You only pay teachers $30,000 a year. I'm not finna fucking then you're going to pay me almost $100,000 because I'm going to get an arm. I need to be part of the military. You're going to train me, and then I will be a teacher. That's the only way. You just can't give normal ass teachers guns and be arm your class. That's not.
I totally agree. The other thing too is that, believe it or not, in the United States, over 500 people die a year from misfiring. So God forbid a gun is left out, another kid gets it, the teacher misfires the thing in class. 500 people a year lose their lives from misfires. That's a dangerous idea, horrible idea. Metal detectors, no problem with me. Love that idea. More firearms, don't like that idea at all.
If a teacher get a gun,
if a
teacher get a gun, my daughter, I'm not sending my daughter to school. My daughter be homeschooled. I'm not dealing with that. First of all, teachers ain't. I'd rather be somebody, like you said, trained through the NYPD or somebody trained through the military, because they got to go through extensive tests to hold a gun. Don't give no random ass high school graduate, college graduate, out of college, teaching those school students no fucking gun. No, hell no, no.
So to end with this segment, I wanted to let you guys know that my last topic, this school issue, it was literally a school issue. I am if you don't know, I'm a huge believer in the Second Amendment, because less than 200 years ago, my people didn't have a way to defend themselves. So I'm definitely going to support the way that I defend myself. But I do agree that we need some type of reform or some type of school reform, like we just discussed, whether it be armed security guards in the school or whether it be metal detectors. There need to be be some type of reform to make this senseless violence stop. So I'm going to end it with that. Sorry that it's a little bit on a sad note, but I'm going to just have you guys thinking, what can you do to make it stop? And let's stop saying our thoughts in person. Let's actually get into action. Thanks for kicking it with me, and I'll see you guys next week.
All right, guys, we're going to stay on to me. This is talk about national here at Savage Media Radio. Be sure to check our newest segment, Straight Savage, hosted by our very own Coco, here on Savage Media Radio on our live broadcast each and every Wednesday night. Savage is the name and debate is the game. Listen as we bring up some seriously raw, unfiltered, relatable, and debatable topics that are sure to ruffle more than just a few feathers. That's Straight Savage, Wednesday nights right here live on our show, again at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We are excited to announce that we'll soon be launching another new show here on Savage Media Radio called Job is Problem, hosted by our very own John Mercer. Be sure to check out this power-packed informational podcast about what is affecting business today and how we can make changes for a better tomorrow. Stay tuned for the launch date, announcements, and other information on this fantastic show that is Job is Problem with John Mercer right here on Savage Media Radio. We're looking for talented singers, songwriters, rappers, and the like to feature on our weekly segment Today in Music. If you'd like us to be considered with your feature work on our show, contact us today on savageonair@gmail.com, and be sure to include your name, best contact number, links to your SoundCloud, Bandcamp, or individual tracks, and be sure to include the title Today in Music feature in the subject line. We're excited to hear from you. All right, guys, so we're going to kick things over to Courtney with Straight Savage.
I am going to have some fun with you guys today. So, I know it's supposed to be debatable, and I know it's supposed to be, I guess, thought-provoking. But today I want to make you guys feel extra uncomfortable, and you're either going to love me or hate me after this. But I need to know if my helper, per se, Doug, did you get that pen and paper I asked you to get?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you're going to be my helper. So what we are doing today, because, I just wanted to have some fun with you guys this week. We are on week 11. We are doing good. We are feeling good. So I really want to kind of delve into you guys. I've been in this whole Q&A mood lately. I told Troy I'm going to keep this going because Q&A is just so much goddamn fun. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to play a little game with you guys. So luckily, Doug, you are out of the water. You're free and clear, but I need you to help me with something. The game that I'm playing is I'm going to ask each and every one of you, except for Doug, some very personal, thought-provoking, and intimate questions, and you guys have to answer it. And if you do not answer in the way that I feel is I guess, honest, I'll explain more about that. You guys are going to each have to donate $10 for every answer you refuse to answer to one of the charities of my choice. My charities are the ALS Association, and then also St. Jude. So you guys have to choose between those two if you refuse to answer a question. Now,
this is so sultry.
I'm down.
I'm down. Let's go, baby.
Doug, where you come in is you are going to be kind of my judge because it has to be fair. I can't do the judging. So not only are you going to have to keep score for if people, decide that they don't want to answer questions, but you also have to decide if their answer is truthful and enough and worthy enough for me to pass them and not make them pay to the charities. Do you get it? Do you understand?
Yep.
That's where you come in. Okay, so now if their answer is not worthy, they're going to have to donate $5. So you guys really got to dig deep. We want some really heartfelt or intimate or truthful answers because we can tell, right, Doug? We are going to kick your asses if we can tell if you guys are lying or not being fully truthful or not being, I guess, raw enough for us. So are we ready? Are we ready or are we scared?
Scared.
I'm kind of scared.
This just reminds me of Real Shit Friday, Courtney. I talked about having grapes in my booty hole on Friday, so I'm pretty sure I'm pretty open to this.
So he's good. Okay. We'll come back to that.
Yeah, what?
Let it go, John.
Listen to the show.
John, listen to Real Shit Friday.
Listen to the show.
Listen to the show. All right, so I have an order I'm going to go.
Literally, I will be listening to it immediately after this.
John, you need to save your voice, buddy boy, because you are first. So you better be ready for me. All right. So
I think I'm losing service.
Anyway, I have a very set order of people, so you're number one. So, John, being our resident commitment phobe, I had to ask a relationship themed question. My question for you, and Doug, you gotta listen to his answers. You gotta let me know if I can skip him or if he's gonna have to pay. Okay? Your question, John.
Can we make sure? Is Doug actually ready though?
Yeah, he's ready. We're good.
Not only am I ready, I'm gonna make some money out of this thing. I'm kind of excited.
You're right.
Wait, are Doug's making money on this?
He's raising money.
It's his check.
It's his check, right? All right. So, John, your question is, how many women have you cheated on? That's your question.
Ooh. Easy. One.
Okay.
One, and I still feel bad about it to this day.
This is a two-part question. How did you do it?
Ouch.
What were the circumstances?
Camera.
I'm like, dude, this isn't even that tough. This is an easy one to start with.
All right.
It honestly happened senior year of college. Okay. I've been dating this girl. Been dating this girl for a while, and me being the non-commitment phobe, she wanted a little bit more. She was talking marriage and kids, and I was not anywhere in a frame of mind ready for that. And was at a party, and this girl that I'd been in class with over the past few semesters, we'd been kind of flirting for a while. It was nothing serious, and then we were at a party, and it was at her sorority house, and went up and slammed in her bedroom.
Slammed.
Come on, slammed.
That's gonna be a nickname, Slam. Okay.
Wait, you smashed a homie? You smashed a homie.
That's so bad. Anyway, Doug, was that enough? Was that enough for us? Did we make him sweat enough?
That was definitely an eeker of a question, but he was truthful. I think he was truthful and very sincere.
Yeah, always truthful. Come on. I stay woke, I think. I stay woke.
All right. So this time around, you're good. You're safe. Again, we are donating to the ALS Association or St. Jude. Whoever loses gets to choose which one. So I just want to put that out there. Now on to Carlos. Carlos, my friend. It's easy with Carlos. This is going to be a no-brainer. Okay, so here's my question. What woman would you sleep with and for how much? And it can't be Beyonce.
What woman would I sleep with for how much? Oh, that is so easy. I would sleep with Kerry Washington for about $1 million.
For $1 million?
Yes, that's all I need. Because
a lot of guys would disagree. They would sleep with her for like a hot $2.
Kerry Washington, have you seen? Have you seen? I'm not even attracted to women, but when she does on Scandal, she does that lip quiver, and she's like, "Come fuck me." Oh, I'm like, yes, I love people.
What, Carlos? What does she do?
It's a lip quiver. It's like, oh.
He's really bad at that. Don't even worry about it.
Do you watch Scandal?
Is she the girl from 3LW?
Oh my God!
No, that's Power.
No, girl. Oh my gosh, y'all are disrespecting Kerry Washington.
All right, moving on. Doug, was that good enough? Are we good?
You know what? I gotta say, I know Carlos is a hustler, and he would definitely rock Kerry Washington. So I'm gonna go with that's true.
All right, cool.
Oh.
All right, Troy.
Thanks for the input, Doug.
Troy, I'm on to you. Okay. All right.
Over here, oh my God.
You said in a previous broadcast, I think it was Savage Media Radio number 4, go listen to it, that you are a very adventurous person in the bedroom, okay? So your question is, what is your favorite sexual position, and explain it in detail.
Okay. I'm really trying to figure out how I'm going to say this.
He's blushing.
This is great.
Listen to me. Favorite sexual position? Okay. I would say, dang. Ooh. Okay.
Unless you got $10, I mean.
No,
it's not that hard.
Troy, your family's listening.
Hey, Carlos, you're terrible. You're trying to make him lose.
I'm not going to lose. At the end of the day, I like what I like. So, I like being written because I like the power, the struggle of the power. Why I say that? It's because
okay, do you like back saddle or front saddle?
Well, it depends on the mood. I'm gonna say sometimes you want to listen. in the eye, and sometimes you just want to be like, get that shit. So it depends. So I can't give you which one is more important. Depends on the mood. Because I'm more about the mood, experience in the moment. Everything with me is experience.
Do you like hurdled you down?
Choke you?
No, hold me down in one way. I'm not like to be tied up. None of that.
Your arms over your head, and she's just like on you, whole body like body weight on you and everything.
Well, I share some shit I want to say, but I can't say until Saturday. I promise you, if you listen on Saturday, you'll understand where everything's coming from, but I can't tell you right now.
Okay, Doug.
Free all of himself on
Another selfish plug for a podcast.
Listen, Troy, you're going to have me listening on Saturday, and I don't even listen to the show.
You got to listen.
I'm telling you.
Doug, I think that he did a good job. I think we're good. I think we can skip that one, right?
I think he's being true. I think Troy's definitely letting us know rodeo or reverse rodeo is the way to go. He's being true.
That's it. It's a power struggle. Cool. It's so sexy.
All right, Brandon. I'm on to you, buddy boy.
Gotcha.
All right, he's Mr. Youngin. He's the youngest of us all, so I had to go with a question that might be, kind of stirring. All right, so when was the first time you jerked off, and to what or who?
Dang.
Okay, it was middle school, and my mom went to work. She was working.
Oh my God, I'm so scared as this is going.
And
Sorry.
my brothers were staying at their friend's house, and they were having like a little.
Wait. This is after the statute of limitation, right? How old are you, Brandon? There's a statute of limitation.
I'm 23.
Okay. I was like, if you were 18, you can't be telling this story. There's a statute.
Right, that's true.
Right? That's so right.
My mom worked nights, and then my brothers were gone with their friends to a basketball game, whatever. So I was at home, I was bored, and at that time I had a phone that didn't do videos. So I was, I wasn't really into sex, but I got into it, and then I looked up. That was the first time I ever found Pornhub, actually.
Okay. Shout out Pornhub.
I looked up both sex. Both sex were fine at that time. I wasn't even out. I didn't even know what gay was, and it was just like, I went in for the kill, did it on the sheets.
So
I
can I
told
ask
mom
a
to wash
question,
the sheets. I
Coco?
peed on them.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
When you were watching that porn, were you watching the girl or the boy?
It was back and forth. Like I was trying to figure out which one I liked, but at that time I liked it girl on girl.
Oh wow.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I was watching at that time. But as the years gotten look better.
Oh yeah.
Right.
All right, Doug.
You sound like you're watching it right now.
Doug, how did we feel?
I think he's being very truthful about the middle school jerk.
Man, these cherries are gonna be dry. Okay, I got.
Y'all broke. You couldn't tell the truth.
Y'all are broke. Y'all like, well, I'm gonna take this hit.
You gotta remember, Courtney. You gotta remember, it's Savage, so they're swinging for the bleachers.
That's true. That's true.
I feel like Doug's blushing more than anybody.
Well, I'm kind of happy because I didn't have to answer any of those.
He skipped this
but
one. I got you next week.
I could go across the board. I could go right across the board. 10 for 10. But you'd never know,
right?
Oh,
all right, guys. So did I get to everybody? Because we got another round coming up. Did I get to everybody? I did. John, Carlos, Troy, Brandon. Awesome. Okay, John. What is your shallowest requirement for a female? For someone you have to date?
Wow.
There's a
That's
lot
a tough
of ladies listening.
That's a tough one.
Tick, 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 tick.
That's really tough, actually.
Just say T.
What was the question?
You got $10
Oh.
though, right?
Oh, natural boobs for sure, actually.
Okay. But
yeah,
no.
without a question. It took me a while to think about that, but yeah, not even a question. That is like, I sometimes even feel bad that I like that. That's kind of a requirement, but that's like, it's a hard no for me if they're not natural.
Okay, so what do you feel about women who have boob jobs? What do you feel about it? Why do they turn them off?
I have no I have no negative sentiment towards them. It's just something about like just a natural like boob. Like it is, I just want to put my head there, and it's like it's uncomparable. Like you just cannot compare fake versus real. Like I'm sorry, and nobody's gonna sell me on this one. There's just nothing that compares to that.
Sell me.
He's like, I got any backup? Okay, well, John, what about size? What size? It's your perfect size breast? 'Cause you want to put your head in there. You ain't got a little tiny head.
I do. I'd say
they're listening.
36 C is probably.
Oh.
Yeah, I'd say middle size C is like minimum for me.
Cool. All right,
Yeah.
Doug. How you feeling?
No, wait.
I think he's being.
No, we got one more question about that.
What? I didn't think you could ask questions.
Go ahead, Troy. I let Carlos ask one, so you can.
I don't want to. I just want to make sure you're not discriminating on an itty bitty titty committee. I just want to make sure it's not. You're not gonna say I'm not gonna date a girl because the titties is little. You're not gonna say that.
No, I'm not going to. They definitely have to have some other features, whether it's social or physical, that make up for that. But no, it's not a no for sure.
Okay.
Like the credit.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe not the credit. The credit really is not really a thing for me. It's not like
all right, guys. He's too much of the hot seat. We're being unfair. we gotta move on. All right, Carlos. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out which one to ask you, because you're a little too unfiltered for me.
I'm a YouTube star.
I know. Okay, all right, here we go.
What is the actual definition of a YouTube star, though?
We ain't asking. I'm asking the question, John.
Okay, sorry.
Anyway.
Troy got to ask another question.
Carlos.
I'm muting.
Carlos.
No, John, no.
So, I know you like to smoke a lot of weed. Everybody knows you like to smoke a lot of weed. We all know this. What is the best experience you've had when you smoked weed? And then also, two-part, what is the worst thing you've done unwillingly when you smoked weed?
Okay, can I change weed to cocaine?
Sure, cocaine. Have at it.
Okay,
go.
Because weed for me is medical. So like I use it to deal with like my my issues. So it's unfair because I haven't done anything crazy.
It's just like
yes.
Gotcha.
But I am like you guys know, I'm a supporter of letting people do what they want to do, and I have tried cocaine in college. So what was your two questions again?
The best thing you've done, and then the worst unwilling thing that you've done.
Okay, actually, I'm gonna hit you with two birds, one stone. So the best thing I did is me and my husband, we fucked for 24 hours straight, and you think I'm lying, but I'm not. We did. We stayed home from Sunday night to Monday afternoon, right? But then that was also the worst thing that we could have done because our blood pressure was really high. We consumed a lot of illegal drugs in a short amount of time. And then Christopher was late for work for like 2 days after that. So
fuck them up.
That was college. That was 4 years ago. We're just easy old like calm people now.
You're better people now.
We're better people.
All right. So Doug, how you feeling on that one? I got two more left.
Wow, for my at first I was going to call it a bullshit story.
Right?
But then because it just seems like, I can't believe anybody could do that for 24 hours straight. But then again, it's Carlos, and Carlos brings the hustle to hustle. So I'm going to go with he's probably being true.
All right,
Carlos got a sex tape coming.
Troy, last one goes to you because we're running out of time. So last one goes to you. What is the most annoying thing what is the most annoying thing to you about working with all of us? About on this podcast, being with all these voices, all these personalities, what do you hate about it?
I know what you
hate about it?
Right.
Listen, the only thing I really hate is the microphones not being right. That shit drives me crazy because I'm such like a perfectionist, and I feel like it just drives me. It's like nails on a chalkboard because I'm a performer, I'm a singer. I keep thinking about every time I hear Mike's going crazy. So when I'm gonna be like microphone, it makes me feel like the devil in the fire is behind me.
Well, that worked out, Doug. How do you feel?
I'm going to go with. I agree with Troy. He's definitely freaking out on the technical difficulties.
Yeah,
so
he's getting hot right now. I think this has been
delay.
very productive.
It was very productive. We learned a lot. We
learned a lot. Good job, Doug. I needed a truth sensor because I'm just sitting here bugging out all these answers. So I knew I wasn't going to be all right in the head. So thank you for that. Thank you guys all for listening to this week's Straight Savage. Be sure to tune in next week at, I don't know, what time to start this shit? 8:40, something like that. But be there or, miss all the good fun. We're going to kick it over to John with Savage Business. And here we go.
All right, so we got savage business going on. I do have to say, I had to sit down and cool myself for a minute because that was pretty fiery, Courtney. Thanks for that. I thought some of those questions were kind of easy, though.
I know. I got to get my game up. I'm gonna work on it. You got a couple weeks break. I got you.
Okay. All right. All right. So business today. So as I said last week, I mentor a group of entrepreneurs on the West Coast of the United States, and they're a great group. And last week I had them listen to a couple episodes of the show and ask a couple questions, and they love that. I got about 10 more emails than I did last week with questions for you guys. So if you don't mind, I'm going to ask some questions that some of my mentees or friends or whatever you want to call them had to ask. So is that cool with you guys?
Yeah.
They just listened to the business part, right?
No. They did have some comments about you, Carlos, just so you know.
That's why I asked, but we'll talk about it later. Thank you.
I will say this, most of them really do like you. Some of them thought you were
Most of them?
Most of them. A couple of them had some choice words. You know? Well, there was actually really nothing negative. One person really thinks you are thought at first you were like a fake character in a persona, but I'm like, no, I really don't think so. And as he's listened more and more, he's like Carlos' biggest fan. So you've won over. His name is Brian. He lives in Portland. If he's listening to this, shout out Brian.
In Portland.
So, this one is a big question. This one I think we can maybe debate and go back and forth on a little bit. Carlos, since you know you got a fan out there, and everybody can answer this question, but what do you consider yourself what do you consider a success today for yourself and for other entrepreneurs?
For me personally, I think like today. Okay, so today I went to the Goodwill outlet. A lot of people don't know that I also have a resale boutique called Reslay. It's Reslay, Reslay, and it's literally like you rewear clothes that I pick, and then I literally sometimes I style people for photo shoots or I sell it online, and I spent $46 and I bought 50 pounds of clothes. And as I'm selling or as I'm posting pictures of the items on Poshmark, which is one of the websites that I use for selling, I'm selling the clothes as I'm posting them. So like I put up a picture of a dress and it sold for $20 and I bought that dress for $106. I felt so successful in that. And I made like a Snapchat about it. And if you're following me on Snapchat, please listen and please just follow along and learn how to hustle, because I really do talk about how to hustle, because that's how, as a YouTube star, like you guys are asking, like, what's a YouTube star? It sounds good, but you really don't make that much money. So you have to have several different hustles just to sustain yourself if you want to be successful. So reselling clothes is one of them. But I felt so successful when I sold that dress within 15 minutes, and I only paid $1.06 for it, and no one had overhead on me, and it was my time, and I actually enjoyed, and I spent time listening to podcasts when I'm picking used clothes. So that's what it means to me, is like the freedom. Like when you can do something, start something, sell it, and then see the money come into your account. And you did it yourself, and there's no overhead or nobody's telling you like you have to give me a percentage of that. That's what's like really amazing to me.
That's an awesome answer. So I want to ask you this then as well. So when will you consider, at what point do you think you will consider yourself truly holistically successful for an entire lifetime? Like, what does that kind of metric look like for you?
For me personally, I've already reached all of the goals. I was in foster care and I grew up, and I had dreams, and I didn't know what I was doing at the time. It's called manifesting, but I used to call them my dreams, where I would get locked in a basement, and then I would just I would make up an imaginary life. And I'm like, you're going to go to college, and then you're going to like do this, and you're going to do this, and then you're going to be a star. Like, it's literally been my dream from the beginning, just to be a star. And I've already accomplished the things. I already got my college degree. I own a Mercedes. I'm married. So I don't think I will ever be satisfied, because I didn't have this whole YouTube or social media thing in my dream when I was a child. And now it's something I'm focused on. And I'm sure in 5 to 10 years, I'm not going to be dreaming of that. Just like my dog business. If you guys have been listening, I shut down my dog business. And that was something that I dreamed of for years and years and years. And I got it to the top, and then I moved on. you will never be satisfied. You're always going to keep pushing yourselves. And anyone who's been anything will tell you that. Like, I never will tell myself that I'm successful. I will die being like wanting to do more.
I think that's a great answer. I think the actual definition of success is different for every person. And I like that you shared that. Doug, what about you? What is truly being successful? What does that mean to you? And what does those metrics look like for you as a public service announcement specialist?
Well, I aim to please, I really do. I think on my end, I would say it's trying to find a balance, and you really have to be happy with what you're doing. And sure, it's great to have a lot of money, and you might have a job or be in a situation where you're doing something where you're generating a lot of money. But if you're not happy doing it, I think it's kind of silly. And then at the same time, you also have to be smart to a degree in that you need to be able to earn money. So it's trying to find a balance between something that you love doing and you feel proud of yourself for the accomplishments. But it's a mix of fit, what you're doing and how you're doing it, and then it's, I guess, the monetary reward. So you're being able to feed yourself and buy clothes and pay rent and all that other stuff. So trying to find that sweet spot. So
success then for you, what would that balance look like for you? Like what would some of those things that you're balancing most, what would that look like when you consider yourself to be successful?
For me, a lot of it has to do with being kind of left alone. I'm not a guy that really, I work really well with other people, but I like to make vertical and lateral moves without asking people. So a lot of times when I'm involved in a project, I like to have 100% autonomy of the project. And rather than somebody micromanaging me, I don't really thrive in that environment. Then we go into, I just don't work with crazy people. I'm too far along in my time, and I value my time too much to work with crazy people. So I would rather take less money, but be the decision maker, than take more money and be hostage to somebody else's idiosyncrasies and craziness. And so for me, I'm always looking for making I find myself being able to take on projects where I'm not tied to a paycheck and I'm just punching the clock. I'm a guy that doesn't mind taking a little bit of risk and throwing a lot of sweat equity into something, even though and the rewards, even though they might not be gigantic millions and billions of dollars like Carlos's situation, it feels really good when you're the one that had the idea from beginning through inception to actually holding on to the money. So I'm a big fan of being able to work with people, but being for me, I really do prefer to work where I can make vertical and lateral moves without being questioned.
Nice. So you place a lot of value in achievement and kind of meeting your goals, right? Am I right in that assumption?
Well, not only do I do that, I'm also almost on the side of when you're an entrepreneur, you have to set goals for yourself and constantly recheck them all the time. And when you don't have a boss telling you, hey, this is what you're supposed to be doing now, you have to decide and be incredibly disciplined. And not a lot of people are disciplined in that way. But for me, I'm ridiculously disciplined, and I set my own goals. And I'll have short-term, maybe a weekly goal and a monthly goal and a 3-month goal and a blah, 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 blah. And I'm always a guy that's, I'm taking notes. I'm comparing what I'm doing to where I was 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. And I'm always doing that. And, every once in a blue moon, I'll grab the remote and I'll hit pause and I'll say, wow, I've really evolved from a kid in Hermosa Beach, California, all the way to where, I'm involved in all different kinds of projects, music projects and businesses. And I've seen every state in America several times, in Canada and Europe. And I've accomplished a lot of things, but it hasn't been because anybody gave it to me, it's because I had just straight up hustle, and I had to just go out and out hustle somebody else to accomplish the goals. So that's not really a problem for me. I thrive on that. And every once in a while, I'll stop and I'll say, wow, those are great goals. You've accomplished A, B, and C. And then I'll realign what I want to accomplish in the next year and come up with a plan and attack.
Yeah, that's really good. I'm also huge on goal setting. I think it's actually one of the most important skills that somebody can have is the ability to set a goal and actually go after it, and then the ability to kind of revise those goals as you go along. Troy, you still on?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Troy, still here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Troy, I want to get your opinion on this. What does success look like for you when you think of yourself as being truly a success? What does that look like? How do those metrics align for you?
For me, success looks like the goals that I've set for myself that I've strived to achieve have been reached, and I've exceeded those goals above and beyond. Because I'm a type of person, being a perfectionist, I'm always like, it's never good enough. Like Carlos said earlier, like even though I'll do this, nothing's never good enough. I need to do more. So for me, it's seeing myself financially free and debt free, not owing nobody a dollar, a penny, or anything, and being able to make change in the world with the success that I have, not just financially but physically. So that's
awesome. I actually have very similar frame of mind to both you and Carlos. I think for me it goes two ways. For me, it's the financial and personal independence to do whatever I want, whenever I want. If I want to go on a trip, if I want to do something when I want to do it, I'm going to do it. And when you can truly say that you have that 100% of the time, for me, that's when you're success. And I think that's when I would consider myself to be kind of holistically successful. And then aligned with that, just always kind of doing right by humanity. I have this like utter need and like passion to utterly do right by people. Like I don't like doing wrong by people. Like I just hate it. So when I could say I've achieved both those, for me, that's when I'll say I'm a success. But at this point, not quite there yet. I still have tons of appointments on my calendar. So this one is a longer question. And it was written in an email that I got that was about 6 paragraphs long. So I condensed kind of the end of it into this one. So disappointment is a huge thing as an entrepreneur when you're starting out. It crushes me and causes me to rethink my entire life on the regular. How do you look at disappointment, and when do you think you should actually be disappointed? All right, so disappointment is a huge thing. How do you look at disappointment, and when do you think you should actually be disappointed? So I'm actually going to start with this one because I know who wrote it, but I think they're talking about a talk that I gave last summer. So my grandpa I grew up very close with my grandfather, and he's one of the best people I ever met. And he always said, life is just one big disappointment after another, then you die. And it sounds horribly negative to think about, And growing up, I was like, oh man, that's just an awful thing to say. But he's actually right in a lot of ways. Most things, most people, most ideas that you have in your mind, you'll end up being disappointed. And when you stop looking at disappointment as being disappointed as actually a disappointment, when you learn to kind of notice that you're going to be disappointed more often than not, that those small disappointments, those medium disappointments are just another day, that's when actually disappointment stops to matter. Because you don't expect things from people. You don't expect anybody to give you anything. If you expect to be disappointed, you've already won. You've already won. So you have to stop thinking about the little failures and little disappointments as actual true failures and disappointments, and then you're good. You have to think about if you go with expectations that everything is going to fail and everything else is going to be a fuck up, you've already won. Carlos, what do you think about disappointment in terms of being an entrepreneur and dealing with setbacks and those type of things? How do you deal?
I just texted the group. I was like, I got something to say. I literally think the opposite of you. Growing up, being constantly disappointed, I went through 36 foster homes. Everyone always told me no. So what I did was at like age 9, I decided to say no to life. I decided to say life has already told you no. So everything you ask life is going to tell you no. But if whatever it's not a no. So like when I apply for a credit card, I'm gonna apply being like, you're gonna get denied. So just get yourself ready for it. But if I got a $500 approval, boom, look, I'm excited about that. I look at the world half empty, like the glass. If you look, the world's a glass. I look at it half empty, and I'm expecting it to go lower. But if it feels higher, hey, I won. If it goes lower, I'm already preparing myself for failure. And a lot of people say, you kind of just said that that's a negative thing to do, and that might be for your life, but for someone who was raised in disappointment, truly, it is actually almost comforting to prepare yourself for failure, and then when something good happens, to actually be so excited for it, because then that gives you the encouragement to keep going. And that's how I look at life. So I think both ways work. My way has worked for me, because especially in this industry, like, when I go out to auditions, I'm like, you're not going to get the fucking part. When Courtney called me, when I was literally at the airport, and I was like, you're not going to get this part for this podcast. I'm not going to choose you. You like, what can you give to the world? And then she's like, I fucking love you. We're going to have you on. Like, for me, when I tell myself no, I usually get a yes. And when I get a no, I already prepare myself for it. So that's my biggest advice, to do that. And I do that in my personal life, and I do that in business.
Yeah, and I think part of what you said, I totally agree with, and I think we're part of what we're both saying is very much the same. I look at everything is going to be a failure, and then everything is going to disappointment, and everybody that sends me an email, everybody that wants to partner together, is going to disappoint me in some way, shape, or form. It's always going to fail. Exactly. I've come to determine that. So everything that I do, I just assume is going to be a fuck up. So anything that's even slightly a win is like a monstrous, huge victory for me. So exactly. I think we have very much a similar mindset. I was just going to say, I want to get a female's perspective on this, especially a female entrepreneur. So, give it to me. Let's hear it.
It's so funny. That's always everyone's lead-in to me, guys. You guys got to be a little bit more creative. I don't want to be the female
perspective. You're literally the only girl on the podcast.
Yeah, that's just honesty.
I'm kidding. No, but I actually...
I'm trying to be woke to genders around here.
You tried. I give it to you. But Carlos, I thank you for saying exactly what you just said, because I thought it was just me. Because in the industry that I'm in, doing events for the public, it's literally a hit or miss. There could be a parade that randomly popped up that's free for all kids, and people are like, oh, fuck that show, and they go to that, and I could have literally been expecting like 1,500 people to show up, and then maybe 100 people will be there. So you have to have that mindset of, I've kind of learned to combat disappointment, because for a person who has anxiety, disappointment, you pretty much dwell on it and your life is over. So I had to combat it somehow. Yep. And how I do it is basically say, like, for a show I know I'm going to have 2,000 people on, I say, I'm going to have 200 people. I'm going to be happy with 200 people. 200 people will be fabulous for me. That's all I'm going to get, nothing more, nothing less. And then if 1,300 people come, I'm ecstatic, because I set my bar low enough where I'm not selling myself short, but I'm also being realistic and knowing that shit happens. So it's comforting to know somebody else kind of like has that mind. I just wanted to say thanks, because I thought I was fucking crazy.
I do it too.
I know. I think
that's the right mindset to have.
No, yo, this is killing me. I cannot believe y'all saying this right now.
What?
I really can't.
Oh yeah,
Troy, let's go. Share. Let's hear it.
Let me tell you why. I'm like Carlos. I grew up mostly disappointed. So disappointments to me, I take them very seriously. I don't like to be disappointed. So that's why in certain things I put myself in situations to expect things in certain situations. But the reason why I say it is because I don't expect anything. I always expect things are gonna be great, and that it's gonna happen. Let me tell you why. I'm a server. Most of y'all are entrepreneurs and work for yourself. I'm only working for myself when it comes to being Troy Weeks Music, the brand, with my gigs and all that, singing and all that. But I still work a regular job. I'm a server. And so I go into that place.
Troy, that is being an entrepreneur right there, just so you know.
Right, but let me tell you why I'm next. I want to say, hey, John, can you let me finish? Hey, you know my secret. But I'm going to it with an entrepreneurship mindset, and this is why I said that. You're right, you're absolutely right. So these tables that I'm going into, I'm waiting tables for a day while I'm here. So in that, I go in there and I'm like, look, I go in, I pray every day, I talk to God, I'm gonna have a great day today. I'm gonna make awesome money. I'm gonna even make some business connections and make some connections with people every day. And I go to work and I have an amazing day. When everybody else around me is like, oh my God, I'm not making no money, today's not a good day. Every day, everyone around me is so negative, and I think that's the problem. No, I'm not expecting to be disappointed because you're not gonna disappoint because you know why? You're great. You're going to do it, and that's what it is. And so when someone's poured positive things into you, I took those negative things in my life, all that negativity that I've experienced in my life, and instead of using drugs to make me numb myself and get over it, I said I forgave my parents, I forgave everybody in my life that's ever done anything wrong to me, and I moved on. And I said I'm not going to let my past determine my future. And so in that, I look at everything, there are no disappointments, because I'm not expecting to be disappointed. So there are no disappointments, ever. I just say, hey, it didn't work this time, let's do it again, because I believe you only fail when you stop trying. So there are no disappointments in my book. You're not disappointed.
Totally.
You're not expecting a disappointment.
Oh yeah, and I mean the true disappointment is I mean the worst disappointment is being disappointed in yourself and quitting and failing and going in another direction or abiding to a status quo or doing something that you don't want to do is grounds for total self kind of disappointment. Doug, what do you think about the topic of disappointment in being an entrepreneur in business?
I think that you have to, I guess, maybe put like a value to the disappointment. So maybe there's a scale of like 1 being not a big disappointment to a 10 where it's like catastrophic. One of the things that one of the things that you get better at is rallying back from a problem. And I think the smaller the problems, the easier they are. The bigger ones, there might be more collateral damage. I am a big believer that the idea of a disappointment really is an opportunity to find out where things went off the rails. And then I will drill into that information and determine what did not work, what blew up in my face, how do I get better, faster, leaner, meaner, so I can make vertical and lateral moves. So for me, if it's not life and death, and it's business, I think that with all business, you're going to have a lot of disappointment, and it's just being able to analyze whether it's disappointment that's critical and it's beyond repair, a relationship that got broken. You're disappointed, that person's never coming back. You lost a contact or a bridge that burned or something like that. That's a bummer. Where if you go in the other direction and you're talking about, it's something that's doable, I think it's an opportunity to learn how to get better at things. And the faster you can shake it off, everybody's different. The faster you can shake it off, the better. And I think that's just part of being in the world.
Totally. And shaking it off is a guy I've done some work with in Manhattan, Gary Vaynerchuk. He's always of the mindset like, just fuck it. You have to quit. You have to grind. And I get that. And him and I have a lot of good things in common. But we do disagree on some things. Sometimes you have to teach and have some sympathy for somebody's ability to listen and hear what other people say. And shaking things off, it's not always the easiest thing to do. So, Doug, how did you learn how to shake off those disappointments?
Well, again, if it's, how I do it? Chick flicks. I try to remove myself from the situation. Chick flicks. I'll watch comedies and look at things that are going to take my mind off of the problem. And there's nothing like I'm sure there's a great wisdom and proverb out there. But when you step back from a situation and you give yourself a day or two to analyze what went wrong, maybe the disappointment is an opportunity. Maybe the disappointment is something that you created. Maybe it was something that wasn't created. Either way, I think it's just part of doing business. And the way I shake those things off is distance myself from the situation for a second. I try to get as far away from having an emotional reaction to what's going on and a lot more of an intellectual reaction to what's going on. And how I do that is by a good night's sleep, watching a comedy or something like that, and then going back and pulling that problem apart and saying, where did I go wrong? Where did this go wrong? Was it me? Was it you? Was it us? Where are we? And that's how I do it. Is sometimes a comedy and sometimes just distancing myself from it.
So what's your go-to chick flick?
Pick one. 40-year-old virgin. I mean, I kind of, for a guy that came up the ranks in the punk world, I'm a little bit of a softie, and it's something that As a young guy, I might have been a little bit more curt with people. But as I've gotten older, I've realized that I don't need to take off the gloves and go toe to toe with people. I just kind of shrug my shoulders and let things be a little bit. So for me, any chick flick, like just throw it at me and it's like, yeah, cool. Something really lighthearted, something really easy, something funny. I watch a lot of stand-up comedy, anything in that world, kind of takes my mind off the disappointment. And then the next day, a good cup of coffee and right back at it.
Nice little fun fact from Doug there, a fan of chick flicks. Carlos, what about you? How do you shake off disappointments in life and being an entrepreneur? How do you get over it? How do you get through it? It's tough.
Well, what I do is I just don't give a fuck. If I can pay my bills, I pay my bills, and I just get over it. Like it's kind of like how Chuck said, like, you just get over it. You just don't care. It's hard. Like, it was hard to do and when I was in business, but now that I'm like in YouTube, it's starting to get a little bit easier because like, I'm like, oh, that video didn't do so well and you put all that money into it. All right, next video. And once you're putting in the money yourself, you have to see the bigger picture. If that idea doesn't work, just like Einstein says, like, you have to do it 1,000 to 2,000 times. And then maybe that one time is going to work for you. So just keep trying, but don't dwell on the past.
Exactly. I think, and I kind of predicted that response from you, which I was glad for. But yeah, it's not easy. And take this from somebody that's spent a lot of time, that has spent and spends a lot of time in their own head in terms of business and being an entrepreneur and growing a company. And I spent way too much time in my head, and that was a detriment me really getting started and getting off the ground. But I learned that, listen, I just go in with the assumption that everything is going to disappoint me and be a failure and be a fuck up. So I already expect that. If something good happens, that's a huge win. But I go in not expecting failure. And once you do that, then you've already won. It's already a huge win for you. That's Savage Business, I think, or whatever the title of that segment was. Stay savage or fight on, something like that. Today in music. Love you guys.
Yeah. We in here, baby. Today in music. I'm laughing at John. Like, John, you're hilarious. Yeah, whatever the segment that was. Yeah, okay. Anyway.
Love you too, Troy.
I love you, bro, but I'm going to call you out. Today in music, I'm just going to take it back. I have some stuff playing, but it's Black History Month. And so I've been thinking about what we talked about earlier, and I'm going to take it back. Black History Month All-Star Game. Anybody in Black History, any one of our, Black people could have really got up there and, just it took this moment an opportunity to be standing proud and tall during this month, during the All-Star Game. And what we witnessed, today in news, what we witnessed at the All-Star Game opening with the Star Spangled Banner by Miss Fergie. I'm not a hater in any way of anybody's talent and skills, but I'm just, as a person who's seeking to be where she is and doing that at the All-Star Game, I was so hurt for her, one, and disappointed. Like, how? Why? Like, there was nobody that your prep team didn't say, hey, let's practice it a couple times. Let's make sure we late. Like, there was nobody that talked to you before you went on. Like, girl, you ready? In case you had to pull the B person out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't understand logically in my head how this happened, that you would, allow it to happen, pretty much. So, it could have been anybody else. Black History Month, All-Star Game. I'm just saying. Courtney, Miss Lady, can you tell me your opinion on that? I never start with you. I just thought I would start with you now. What's your opinion on what I just said about Miss Fergie and, how Black History Month? That's disrespectful. I just, come on. Talk to me.
I'm going to quote her exact words. She did her best. I mean, what do you want me to say?
You were not an amateur. You did your best. Don't tell me that.
No, I'm just saying, like, I mean,
you can't say that.
Okay, so listen, it's very hard to, it's a very hard song to sing. So.
But don't get chosen.
I heard, like, notoriously, for even the best artists, even Whitney Houston, she said that it's a really difficult song to sing. It's a really odd notes, and it's easy to mix up the words. I mean, I don't know what she was trying to do, but I think she's trying to go for like a jazzy vibe.
Come on. You heard Whitney's version? Whitney, she done made it a whole, it ain't the Star Spangled Banner, it's the Whitney Spangled Banner. She done made it a whole new, you know what I'm saying? Like, she can't say that. Of course it's going to be hard. When you do what you did, and somebody try to do what you did.
That's true. I mean, I think she just should have left it alone. I think she tried to jazz it up and failed miserably. But, whatever. It's not for everybody. And I mean, it's like asking you or anybody to sing a Michael Jackson song. No one can sing Michael Jackson like Michael Jackson. You're going to try your best, though. You're going to sound like Gold Deep Voice Troy. You're not going to sound like...
I think Troy could.
I'll sing it at karaoke, but you don't get me on national TV to sing the Michael Jackson song like I'm ready to do it.
But what if they paid you? What if they paid you some buku bucks? You're going to get up there and try your best. You're going to try your best.
They paid me. But my best is gonna be 110, baby. I'm gonna do some Michael Jackson moves. I might do the moonwalk. You know what I'm saying? I might even do a split. You never know. Come on, like the opportunity is what it is.
I want to see that.
Listen, get the Bucks together. We can talk about it. Listen, I'm a performer. I don't turn down a check.
Hey, that's my opinion, honestly. Like, I think she did what she could. I don't think they called on the right person. Maybe they were short. Maybe the list wasn't, that extensive. Maybe they didn't have a good budget this year. Maybe they spent a little too much extra money on which fucking basketball players they chose for the All-Star game, and they only got about hot $10,000. Who knows? But they had her. She did her job. She did her best. She did what they asked. The words were there, and, there you go.
Yep, come on, Courtney. Come on, high five for the girl.
I'm trying.
Right,
I
cool.
feel bad.
I want to hear from Brandon, because Brandon, he always a little quiet, but I want to hear Brandon's voice on this one. Brandon, come on, talk to me.
It was, I can definitely say I actually watched that when I was laying down in bed, and she had me dying. Just everybody's face expression was what fucking killed me. Was everybody's face expression. But she's not the only one that messed up. Carrie Hilson messed up. Steven Tyler messed up. Scott States. Everybody has messed up. I would just say practice it before you go on stage or perform anywhere. But I don't think she practiced at all. She woke up, she smoked a doobie, got some drinks, and she was like, fuck it, let's do it.
Oh my gosh, that's definitely what it sounded like.
Yeah, I respect that, though.
Come on, John. Come on. Talk. Thank you, Brandon and Courtney. Come on, John. Talk to us. What do you go ahead. Just your mouth is moving because I love when you say that.
I think we all agree it was pretty awful. I think people have been a little bit too hard on her because she actually went out there and tried something, which I have a great deal of respect for. Like, she put it out there and she was behind it. She was passionate about it. She was into it. It just didn't work. I mean, let's just be honest, And I feel bad, like, that people have been, like, really hard on her. Like, it's one thing to say, yeah, it was awful, but you don't have to go attack her or,
don't do that.
take her black card away, I mean, give it to her for getting out there and, like, putting it out there. Like, I have a great deal of respect for that.
I agree with you. That's respectful. Be respectful. Like, at the end of the day, high five because it's not easy to do it. Others have failed. Like you said, like Courtney said, others have failed. So high five to her. It's not easy. Being a singer myself, I know it's not easy. The best to get the words with those kind of nerves. Come on. I'm not blaming her for that in regards to that. I'm blaming her for not being prepared because you should have been prepared. Regardless, things go wrong.
Who said she didn't prepare? Like, maybe she could have practiced for months and months and months, and that was the final product. I mean, I'm just saying.
What kind of team you got behind you?
Yeah, she must have been practicing by herself.
You guys are awful.
All right, hold on. All right, hold on a second. Just out of curiosity, how many major revamps of the Star Spangled Banner have there been in history? Not very many of them. So the reality is she should stick to the script. And when you're going to go off script, and believe me, that's bold, you have to bring it to such a different level for people to be able to accept. And I thought that, for me, I watched that clip. She was incredibly pitchy. Just as a singer listening to her, and I was like, wow, she is howling some notes. And I get it. I'm not giving her a Mariah Carey pass. It's like, you got to do your work. You got your inners. You're a pro. But the idea that she was going to come off script and do this different rendition of the Star Spangled Banner, man, did she think that she was going to bring it in at a 12, and she brought it in at a low 2.
I agree with that. I actually, you know what? You opened my eyes, because if you are going to do a different rendition, you're already subjected to scrutiny anyway. You're subjecting yourself to scrutiny because people do not like you to do different renditions of that song. So I get it. That makes sense.
That's why. You got to be prepared. At the end of the day, it's the platform. You knew when you signed that contract to get that check that you was going to be singing the Star Spangled Banner. So if you've never done it before, I'm about to get this check, and I'm about to be on national TV. I'm about to let them know Fergie, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's go. What's up? So there's no excuse. There's no excuse. You signed the paper. You knew what you was getting into. You knew the platform you had. You knew what was going to be what's up. There's no reason. There's no reason.
It's real quick, Troy. It's kind of like an opportunity lost. And here she is, wherever she is, mid-career, tail end of her career, wherever she is. She had an opportunity there to really set the stage for a next chapter for her. The same way when Lady Gaga went up onto the Grammy Awards and sang The Sound of Music. And people were like, what is that? Where she took the opportunity and crushed it. And here was an opportunity for Fergie to maybe create the next 5 years, 7 years of her career. And she failed miserably, whether it was the bad management decision, whether it was being able to do that was a little bit outside her chops, whether it was the fact that, it's Black History Month and she's trying to rip on Sarah Vaughan and frickin' Billie Holiday, whatever it is, that was a bad decision. And I think that that was just a poor decision. She had an opportunity to really rip it out of the park, and she it just didn't work really well.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly that. See, come on, teamwork, baby. That's what I'm talking about. That's what y'all. Thank y'all. First of all, thank y'all, team. I really needed it, because it was firing me up since we were talking. I'm like, it's Black History Month, and I would jump at an opportunity like that. I've been trying to jump at an opportunity like that, and I'm waiting for it. And I've been practicing the Star Spangled Banner for 10 years. I've been ready. Okay, so I know what that moment is like, and I know they can be stressful, but I would. In a stressful moment, I would never deter from the normal, especially something with the history that it has. Why would you do that? I wouldn't do that. So at the end of the day, that was Today in Music. I have to just get my heart out and get my little voice out. Thank y'all, team, for always being, holding it down as always. Keeping it straight savage. You already know.
Can we do hashtag Troy for NBA All-Star 2019? Yeah. Can we get that going on Twitter?
Can we do that? You got to put Troy Weeks Music, and no one's going to know who Troy is.
We'll make it happen.
I'm just spitballing here. I'm not saying that's like the exact hashtag, but something like that.
Come on,
we'll make it happen.
See, I need your help. That's the business. Thank you.
All right, listen. Listen. I'll do it. Let's go.
We're gonna take my make it happen. Let's do it, and we all be there reporting live, right on the sidelines. All right, so we're gonna kick these movements. I'll be putting that out there. We're gonna be right there in the sidelines with me, right, guys? Come on, don't leave.
Yeah, I think we're gonna need some sideline seats for that, for shirt or floor seats. I think that's just a given. They just have to have that.
Courtney likes VIP.
Oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, Brandon. Yeah, there we go.
All right, guys. We got that. That was it for today. For Today in Music, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I love being able to express myself. You guys help me do it in just the right way. So, what we're gonna kick things moving right over to Still Listening with Doug. Let's get it.
Hey everybody, welcome to I'm Still Listening. I'm your host Doug Carrion, and in this segment, I'm going to be highlighting the coolest independent hip-hop, indie rock, and electronic music now available on SoundCloud. Check it out.
What's going on, everybody? We got a double shot of electronic music, the Satin Jackets. It's a track called Mirage. If you like it, SoundCloud.com, Eskimo Recordings. Take it away.
Overthinking every single part about us.
Fantastic track out of Belgium. Second song of the night by the great Chris Malinchak. It's called No Secrets, featuring Damian C. Scott. If you like the music, check him out at Chris Malinchak on SoundCloud. We always post the links. If you want to send us some music, you want to be featured on the segment, savageonair@gmail.com. Take it away.
Sorry, technical difficulties. Troy, you're gonna have to take it away. I can't play anything.
Hello?
Guys, no worries. We're here. Yes.
Hello?
Yes, John, we're here. We're getting ready to close out. All right, guys, that's been our show. That's all we have time for today, ladies and gentlemen. That's been number 11 for Savage Media Radio, The Voices. Whoop, whoop.
Why would it wait till the last fucking song? I don't understand.
We went over our time. It's like, bye. Bye,
right? It's like, fuck y'all. I'm out of here.
But that's it.
Bye.
You guys can find us live on each and every Wednesday night here, 8 p.m. on Spreaker.com. Please be sure to follow us because it's very important that if you follow us on Spreaker, you know everything that's going on. You have access to every single show we do versus trying to keep track on which one is today, what day it is. Follow us on Spreaker.com and you'll have it all.
What day is it?
7. It is Wednesday. Today, but we have shows all
okay.
day.
All right. Roger that.
Right. You need to follow. You follow us on Spreaker.com, John. You need to follow us on Spreaker.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have time for. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to week 11. We really appreciate you guys.
What else can people follow us on? Instagram, maybe?
Instagram, yes. Facebook, yes.
Facebook.
Yes, Facebook. Come on.
What is this Facebook thing you guys keep talking about? It sounds magical.
It sounds like you need to get on and stop living in the old school and wake up. That's what you need to do.
John, you have to introduce yourself to Facebook, or else you're going to be completely lost.
What is it? Is it like a Space My or MySpace?
It's a type of fish.
It's a fish.
It's great breaded.
Okay.
I would suggest lemon and olive oil.
Okay.
On
Little tartar sauce, maybe.
Yes, on 350.
Okay.
For about 35 minutes.
Okay. Convection oven or traditional oven?
Traditional oven.
Okay. Do I preheat? Do I put the fish in there?
Shut up.
Well, I mean, listen. If you're gonna talk about recipes, I mean, I'd like to get them right.
Hello.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, the show's over. That's it. This is the end.
Hello.
Cut. It's over.
Hello.
Savage Radio.
I hung up on you.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week. This is Savage Radio, ladies and gentlemen. Say Savage.
Savage.
Hello.